Equations of lines. Here we go. So we're going to write the point, slope, and slope-intercept forms. Find the intercept of a line. Write the equation of horizontal, parallel, and perpendicular lines. We're going to possibly model if we have time. And we're going to talk about linear regression models. Okay? So to start here, we have find the equation of the line passing through -3, 1, and 2, -4. Where is it? It'll let me write. So here you're given 2 points, and there's 2 ways of solving this. Remember that you have y equals mx plus b, and you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Those are your 2 forms of the equation of a line, right? Y'all remember that a little bit? Okay. Okay. So from here, you are going to decide which one of these equations you're going to use to solve. Before you do anything, the first thing you're going to do is find the slope. And slope equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Yes? So we're going to plug in our values. That gives me -4 minus 1 over 2 minus -3. When you're subtracting a negative from a positive, that means you're adding 2 negatives, right? So that's -5. When you're subtracting a negative from a positive, that a negative is a negative makes a positive. So the slope of this line is -1. All right. How do we feel about step 1? Good. Okay. Step 2 is to find either, you have a choice. There's 2 ways. So there's 2 step 2s. I'm going to solve using both ways. The first way is using y equals mx plus b. So if you choose to use y equals mx plus b, then you need to find your y-intercept. Okay? In order to find your y-intercept, you're just going to choose one of your original points that you're willing to work with. It doesn't matter which one. If you want to choose this one, that's cool. I just didn't want to walk over there and circle that one, so that's why I chose it. And you're going to plug in your y values, and your y, your x, and your slope, and solve for your y-intercept. So here, my y, we're doing y equals mx plus b. Y is -4, m is -1, and x is 2 plus b. I end up with -4 equals -2 plus b. So what must b equal? -2. So b equals -2. So you found your y-intercept, and the third thing is to write your equation. So my final equation is y equals -x minus 2. Okay, that's option 1 of solving. Does this look familiar?
Yes.
Okay, option 1 of solving. Option 2 is to use the point slope form, this guy right here, the y, and plug in and solve. And that's it. So you're using y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you're going to plug in your x1, your y1, and your slope. Again, I'll use the same point. So y minus -4 equals my slope, -1 times x minus 2. And all you have to do is clean this up and then get to your equation. So I clean it up. A negative from the negative is a positive. I distribute my negative. Gives me -x plus 2. I subtract the 4. And I get y equals -x minus 2. Do I still end in the same situation?
Yes.
Yes. That's why it's up to you on which way you want to go. Questions about either method of writing the equation of a line given 2 points? Nope. Okay. For your chapter 2 test, you're allowed to make a note card for the test. So these are things that you may not remember. Should these be things you put on your note card? Yes. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? We're good? Yep. Okay. Can I keep going?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I gave myself more room, but I did not. I was like, I think I have a blank page. I don't. So we're going to do part A. The point slope form of this, here's my n, here's my x1 and my y1. So that gives me y minus 4 equals 3/4 times x minus 5. That's point slope form. To go from point slope to slope intercept, I'm going to need to distribute and combine like terms. Does that make sense? So I'm going to distribute, and that gives me y minus 4 equals 3/4 x minus 15/4. Okay, remember when you multiply a fraction times a whole number, it's numerator times the whole. Only the numerator times the whole number. So after we distribute, we're going to isolate y. What do I need to do to isolate y? Add 4. So I add 4 to both sides. Now, adding fractions and whole numbers. What must be true in order to add a fraction and a whole number?
They have to have the same denominator.
They have to have the same denominator. Right now, this is 4/1, right? So what would I need to do to my denominator in order to be able to combine it with 15/4? Times it by 4. And what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So it becomes 16/4. So this is negative 15/4 plus 16/4. And what is negative 15 plus 16? 1. That gives me 1/4. And there is my point slope intercept form. So I went from point slope to slope intercept. Yeah? Nope. Okay? Now, B is an example of when you're giving your x and y intercept, you're giving your slope, by the way. If I'm giving my x and y intercept, that means it's telling me what my slope is. Your slope is going to be your y intercept over your x-intercept. That equals your slope. So what is my y-intercept? My y is 3, and my x-intercept is 2. So it's giving me my slope, just not saying your slope is 3/2. Okay? So it's giving me my slope, and it tells me my y-intercept. My b value equals my y-intercept. And what is my y-intercept? 3. Do I have what I need to make slope-intercept form? Yes, I have everything I need. So y equals 3/2 x plus 3. There would be no point in me having to start with point slope if I have slope and y-intercept. Does that make sense?
I got a question.
Yes.
I'm confused where you got 16 on the previous one.
So here we had 4. In order to add a whole number 4 to 15/4, we had to convert this improper 4/1 fraction to one with a common denominator.
I got it. Yep.
And then once you convert it. Yes. 3/2 because it's your slope in terms of intercept is your y-intercept over your x-intercept.
I had to look at the problem.
Oh yeah. It's your x over your y. Should be negative. Because when you think about the line, you have 3 here, 2 here, and what is the line doing? It's going down, so it should be a negative 3/2. My bad. Good question. Any other questions? A deep dive into Algebra 1. which you guys kind of probably graced over in Algebra 1 because y'all were preparing for a test that never happened.
I love that it is.
Gotta turn the pin back on. My bad. Alright.
How does that work? How can you just touch the board and
Oh, it has a sensor?
Uh-huh. Alright, so the first step is to find the slope. So m equals, and you had 8 minus 3 over 7 minus negative 3, which gave you 5 over 10, which equaled 1/2. How did we do?
Good.
Good. Okay. Second step, which way did y'all go? By show of hands, how many went point slope?
Yeah.
Point slope? Point slope? Did anyone do y-intercept first and then plug it back in? Okay, so we'll do point slope. Which point would you use?
I use 7, 8.
7, 8? Okay. So we have y minus 8 equals, she doesn't know. Equals 1/2. We're just gonna roll with it. X minus 7. Especially like 8 divided by half is way easier to work with, but 3, well, not really. 3 divided by half. But anyways, we'll continue. Gives us 1/2 x minus 7/2. Okay? Then we have to add our 8. Key thing to add the 8, they have to have what? The same denominator. So if I convert 8 over 1 to a denominator of 2, what does that turn into? 16 over 2. So you have plus 16 over 2. So you should end it up with y equals 1/2 x. What? What's negative 7 plus 16?
Oh, 11.
Plus 11
Over 2.
over 2.
I didn't write that first time. See?
Okay.
Big numbers pay off.
It's either way. It's going to work either way. Big numbers or small numbers. That's why I strongly encourage you small numbers, but you do you. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. All right, word problems, okay? Word problems, we just get, lose our mind. Like, oh no, okay? It's the same math. You just have to read the word problem. Okay, so here it says in 1998, Toyota sold 1.4 million vehicles, and in 2007, it sold 2.3 million vehicles, right? Find the point slope form for a line passing through the points of 1998 and 1.4 and 2007 and 2.3. Okay? Is it anything different than what we just did? Except it's now talking about a real world situation. Would the process change? No, the process would not. I would find the slope, I would plug in, find my y-intercept, or whichever way I would choose to go, right? So, same thing here. The only difference is that you may need a calculator. That's it. Okay? The little one. You gotta subtract on that thing. Alright. So we have 2.3 minus 1.4 from 2007 to 1998. So we are going to do calculator to do that. So 2.3 minus 1.4 is going to be 0.9. And then 2007 minus 1998 is 9, right? And 0.9 divided by 9. And now where are we at? What's left to do? We found our slope.
Slope-intercept form or whatever.
Exactly. It wants us to find the point slope. So we need to find our point slope, which is just means choose one of these points and plug it in, right? Doesn't matter which one. Yes, the smaller one is what I'm going to choose. It doesn't matter. Y minus 1.4 equals 0.1 times x minus 1998.
You don't need to do anything else.
It just said put it in point slope form. Isn't that all it asked for?
Yes.
Yes. It just said point slope. Did it say slope intercept?
No.
No. Okay? It wants us to interpret the slope of this line. So 0.1, right here, that's our equation of our slope. 0.1 as a fraction is the same thing as 1 out of 10. Right? What does the numerator values represent? What does it represent?
The vehicles.
The vehicles. It represents millions of vehicles, right?
Yes.
The number of vehicles being sold. So if I have, and what does the denominator represent?
The years.
The years. So if I have sold vehicles and I have years, what is my slope telling me?
You have
Every 10 years, 1 million.
There we go. Every 10 years, how many vehicles are sold? 1 million. Because it's not just one, it's 1 million vehicles.
If
So
you're
our-
only- if you're only
does that
selling
make
one
sense?
vehicle every 10 years, then you should
Yeah, that would be bad business.
Unless
Very
the
bad
car-
business.
Unless the car costed millions.
I guess.
I don't
I
think
guess.
I'll cover it.
So 1 million sold per 10 years. Does that make sense? That's
Yeah,
what separates a
that's
word
it.
problem. Yeah, that's what separates word problems from just doing the math. We now have something to tie it to. What does it mean? How does this value a business? So if I'm running a business of making vehicles, I'm like, okay, so based on our data right now, we sell every 10 years about 1 million vehicles, okay? So that means we're selling about 100,000 cars per year. If we're selling 100,000 cars per year, how many workers can I afford? How much can I pay my workers? How many, that's what all that starts to break down. That's why math is real well.
It's
Okay?
not realistic, man.
How is that not realistic?
To sell 100,000 vehicles per year?
If you're like Ford, Chevy, that's lowballing.
Maybe like the entire company, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
one
They
part
probably
of
sell
it.
millions.
It's Toyota. It says Toyota.
Okay.
Tundras, Camrys, they're everywhere.
Yes.
Forerunners. So Tacoma, yeah, they're everywhere. Estimate sales in 2004 and compare them with the true value of 2.0 million vehicles. Okay, so it's telling us our year that it wants to estimate. So the year is that our x or our y variable.
Year is our X.
Years are x. So we want to know if x equals 2004, what is the y gonna be? So it's giving me my x, which means I'm gonna substitute that value in, right? And then solve for y. So we have y minus 1.4 equals 0.1 times 2004 minus 1998. And we just have to solve. So we have y minus 1.4 equals 0.1 times, what's 2004 minus 98?
6.
Just 6, right? And then we have 0.1 times 6, which is, so we're left with y equals 0.6 plus 1.4. And that's about what? 2 million. So y equals 2 million vehicles sold. That's nice little vehicles. That says vehicle. That says vehicle. We're gonna.
But it sold 9.8 million in 1 year.
I said we were lowballing it.
Not a lie.
It's just said we were low. Okay. All right. These are just numbers for you to get it done. Okay. How do we feel? But do you see how this word problem mathematically wasn't terrible?
No.
No, the math was not bad. You just have to take your time and be willing to do it. Okay? Don't freak out because there's too many words in the math. Okay? So
If I wanted to read, I would read.
you're gonna read in math.
For real.
Find the intercepts for the line whose equation is 3x minus 5y. Okay? We're gonna talk about finding intercepts. To find your intercept is fairly easy. So to find x-intercept, you're going to let y equal 0. To find y-intercept, you're going to let x equal 0. Does that sound doable?
Yes.
So, to find my x, I'm going to let y equal 0. And the reason being is because the intercept is x comma 0, right? So I'm going to plug in. We have 3x minus 5 times 0 equals 15. What happens to 5 times 0? Cancels out. I'm left with 3x equals 15. So what is x? X equals 5. So my intercept is at 5, comma, 0. Was that terrible?
That was very easy.
It was very easy, thank you. Okay? And to find the y-intercept, I'm going to do the same thing, except this time I'm plugging in 0 for x. And that's because it's 0, comma, your y value. So we have 3 times 0 minus 5 times y equals 15. Anything times 0 disappears. Whoosh. So I'm left with negative 5y equals 15. So what is y? Y is negative 3. Because a negative times a negative makes a positive. So your y-intercept is at 0, comma, negative 3.
Okay, that's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah?
Wait, hold on. You said negative 15 minus 5
I said a negative times a negative makes a positive.
makes a positive, yeah.
That's why it's a negative 3, not a positive 3. Because I need to have 2 negatives in order for it to be a positive 15. Alright, how do you feel about being able to find the y-intercept? Yes? Finding the x-intercept?
Yeah.
Questions, comments, concerns? Alright. Okay, find the equations of vertical and horizontal lines. When you're talking about vertical and horizontal lines, it literally means you're talking about OI bucks. Didn't we go over OI bucks?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So OI are horizontal lines with 0 slope, and it's whatever your y equals. So the horizontal line for this point is what? 1. Okay? Vux is vertical, and it's undefined slope, and it's whatever the x equals for that point. What does x equal? Negative 3. If given a point, could you identify the horizontal and vertical line? Oi vux.
Vertical is this.
Yes, we vertically jump. Yes.
So that's just fine. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, yes. Okay, well the bell's gonna ring, so this will be our stopping point.
I didn't realize that.